Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Sensual Goat, Click OK, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
Shalom.
Good morning.
I'm alright, I'm doing too many things at once.
Hello.
So I'm trying to upload a video to my eBay account, and it's freezing as I'm trying to upload this stupid video on these ribbon mics that I've bought. So I bought a whole bunch of ribbon microphones in a job lot, and they're great. I like them. It's my first foray into ribbon microphones, and I need to flog them now that I'm put back maybe 3 months, could be 6 months, could be a year, right in the book. So where I thought I could draw a line under flogging microphones after maybe 3 months, 6 months at the most, if some of them hung around, I'm now getting on to a year into selling microphones, and I'm still having to buy more to sell more to keep the lights on. Frustrating, but by the same token, I do quite enjoy making the videos about them. So I'm sure you guys have seen my little shorts videos that I put out, so I can put them on my eBay ads. That's why the shorts videos exist, in case you hadn't figured that out. They're just the video that goes alongside each of the eBay ads so that you can see how the microphone performs. But I'm a videographer at heart, right? I like making videos. So when it comes to getting a new microphone, or in the case of today, 4 microphones, one of which didn't quite work properly, but there we go. The ones that did, I immediately just plugged them up and started making videos with them. And I like that, you know, talking about a microphone, even if it's a 30-second video about this is a ribbon microphone and this is how it sounds. I like that. I like making videos. So from that point of view, it's good, but it just there literally aren't enough hours in the day. So right up until the wire, as soon as I pressed the live button, I was still pressing refresh on eBay and going, why isn't it working? So, you know, because once you've done the video work, everything else is tedious and irritating. You're like, all I want it to do is go straight onto the eBay ad, and then I can forget about it. But alas, no, it's not playing ball for whatever reason.
Well,
anyway,
things may change where you won't have to flog mics anymore, because certain party had a show yesterday and literally was getting berated in the chat by everybody to give up what's not his. So you never know. There may be a change of heart.
I don't care. I mean, I've already started doing work and paying my wife to transcribe from the videos, the work that's been done to date. So it's already cost me time. It's already costing me money. I'm poorer as a result of the quote-unquote help given to me by What's-His-Name and Quantum Eraser. You know, their help wasn't help. It was a hindrance, a massive hindrance, and it's cost me money. So I could slit both their throats, to be perfectly frank. Metaphorically speaking, you understand.
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, that's an irritation, another irritation. I was listening to yesterday's Uncut and After show that goes out on the second channel. I should really do a plea to that. So my second channel, like a lot of the Flat Earth videographers out there, suffers worse than the main channel. So I go to it and we're like, why is there 10 people watching this premiering stream? Put 4 hours of my life into making it, publish them daily. You get 4 to 10 to 12 to 16. You're like, there's nobody watching this. It's not going out to anybody. There's almost 10,000 subscribers on that second channel. But if you are inclined to watch the Uncut and After show and are intrigued with some of the backstage, we'll call them, discussions that we have on Flat Earth Debate, that's to say once the live show's finished, it's a bit more of a free-for-all. It used to be the case that that would be where the ballers came in, because they'd grow a little bit of courage after the live show had finished, whereas now we tend to be chit-chatting about whatever we're chit-chatting about. And yesterday, someone was asking me about the book. Now, it's from I don't know how many months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, that the show was actually recorded, maybe a bit less than that. But someone's asking me about it, and I'm explaining that I could publish it at any point. In other words, over the course of the last 2 years, there's been a ready-to-publish book at all points. But I've held it back because Adam and QE want to help me make it better. So it's not getting published today because I've got friends that want to make it a better book. And that's what I'm explaining to the audience. And I'm sat there listening to this myself. I'm going, number one, why do I sound so weird? And then right at the end of the show, I'm explaining that I'm on an absolute crap ton of painkillers. Now, I am still on a crap ton of medicine, but by the time you get used to it, you don't slur your words, you don't sound like a drunk or a drug addict once you've got used to the drugs and kept them in your system. I'm still just as poorly, but back then it was fresh and new, and I was, going in and out of still am going in and out of the doctors and hospitals. My point is that while I'm explaining that there's a book ready, and at all points during the process, it could have just been published after any of the drafts. Not in a million years did I think I'd be sitting in front of an audience and explaining that 2 of my alleged to be closest friends who had claimed they were helping me would actually withhold the book from me and cost me time and money. But that's the circumstances, so if QE's getting berated for that, so he should. He's got on the phone with me, demanded percentages, demanded money, and demanded basically ownership of what is mine after offering help. Well, no, they're liars, both of them. Shame. You don't expect these things to work out that way, but they do.
Sorry, you're the one getting blamed for that. They would give it back to you. You just did not ask nicely enough.
I didn't ask nicely enough for my own material that I produced. I don't need to ask nicely. It just means I've got to get my wife to transcribe it, and they've cost me money and are costing me time. So if anybody's like, why isn't the book released? Well, blame QE and Adam. Adam is a scumbag and a degenerate liar because he's told me, as you've seen from the clips that I'm publishing, that he's helping me with my book. There's no uncertain terms about whose book's being produced and who's helping me produce the book. Well, they've turned around and gone, no, we want your book to be our book. And I've said, no. So they say, well, we're keeping it then. What, the Word document? Oh, right. Well, fortunately for me, although I never anticipated it would be the scumbag friends, so-called, that I'd have to protect myself against by recording all of the sessions and publishing them periodically to members. So in case anybody's wondering, why is it that there's an alleged leaked version out there? That's because I periodically published the work process to members. So should anybody use any of that material that was produced under my guidance, they'll be sued for plagiarism. And I've got dates to prove when it's published on my channel with my supervision. So make no mistakes, the material's all mine. Now, do I have a Word document? No. Did I think that I would be betrayed by my so-called friends and they'd blackmail me with my own bleeding book? No, I didn't expect that to be the case, and it has set me back in terms of time. But it doesn't mean I've lost the material. I recorded it all. But like I say, my poor wife, who is also very ill, is having to transcribe it, costing time, costing money. So they're literally costing a poor man, that's me, money. These 2 scumbags, these degenerates, these thieving bastards. That's what they've done. They've cost me money when they offered help. No, they weren't offering me help. What they wanted was co-authorship of a book they were alleging to help me with, and they've withheld it unless they get their demands. So what I have done, as I've had no choice, is report Adam the thieving bastard to the police for stealing my book and trying to extort from me after the fact. That's what I've had to do. Make no mistake about it, these 2 men are thieves, and they are trying to extort me. So when they say it's his fault, we'd give it him back if he only gave us what we want. What you want is inconsequential. You offered help. You thieving bastards. I hope you both burn in hell. That's the situation, Neil. My fault? What, me wanting to earn a living by writing a book and being offered help, and the hindrance them delaying things has caused? Yeah, they've cost me a lot of money, and they've caused me ill health. And I hope they both burn in hell for it. My fault. What a disgrace.
I get it.
How is them withholding my property because they're not getting what they've demanded after their help's been given and offered freely? Now, it's not like I haven't offered to give them credit. I've got that recorded too, where they've said, oh, well, we need crediting. And I've gone, okay. And they've said, what we want is a bit in the book that says, without the help of Adam and QE, this book couldn't have existed. And I've gone, okay, I've agreed. But then once most of the work, 90% of the editing work's done, they've turned around and go, no, we want co-authorship. And QE's telling me how much percentage is going to be taken out of my book. Yeah, that's what you call a thieving bastard. Quantum Eraser, John Stunyer, thieving, scheming, lying bastard. Make no mistake about it. Demanding what percentage he's going to get from the co-authorship. He was never offered and demanded with menaces after the fact. With his swearing and demands of percentages. These men are thieves. There's no other way to describe them. My fault? All right, that's called victim blaming. All right, it's my fault that I didn't talk to you nice enough. Yeah, like I say, metaphorically, I could slit both their throats.
Well, here's the thing. That probably should have been a red flag when they were asking for more credit. But who's thinking that of them too, you know? Who's even thinking that? Nobody.
Thinking what?
That's something like this will go down, because I surely wasn't.
They don't expect your so-called
it,
friends that are offering help to turn around and say, no, actually, we weren't helping you. We were feathering our own nest. Now, this is the percentage I want. Swear word, swear word, swear word. I'm sure you can imagine the conversation from Quantum Eraser. The thieving bastard liar. I'm sure you can all imagine how that conversation went down. The moment they actually told me what they really wanted, they got their answer. No. Then they said, well, we won't give you back what's yours then until you give us what we want. So that's called extortion, blackmail, theft, scumbags.
So you mean to tell me he got emotional on the phone first? Because the message he sent me was he tried to talk to you, but you got emotional and hung up. When it was him that got emotional?
He started swearing at me.
He
started swearing at me and demanding a percentage and co-authorship. And when I said no, he got very angry. I wrote the fucking book, were his words, so I hung up on him. That's how it actually went down. Now, notice how I can say that without stuttering, because I'm not a lying, thieving, scheming bastard trying to extort from his so-called friend. Yeah, Quantum Eraser demanded a percentage and co-authorship and then started swearing at me. That's what actually happened. And as soon as he did, I ended the conversation. Now they're withholding a Word document from me. This is the actual state of events. Those are the facts in this matter. Does it mean that I don't have a book? No. I've recorded all of the work done in my intellectual workshop, aka this meat room that we are in now, that they worked under my supervision, and every last bit of it was recorded. And at no point did they ever even hint at what they've now demanded whilst withholding my book from me. Now, not the book in its entirety. Like I say, I've made recordings. I'm not that stupid. I just didn't think I'd have to protect myself from Quantum Eraser, the thieving, lying bastard, and his secretary. What's his name? I don't know. He was so utterly unimportant, I've almost forgotten his name already. Go on, Neil. It's the third time you've talked straight through the middle of my rant, but go ahead.
I didn't talk, I laughed. So housekeeping?
Yeah, the book is about housekeeping. But meanwhile, what they are doing is disgusting, and I literally hope they both burn in hell for what they're doing. Right? All they're doing is costing a poor man money. And when did they pick to do it? When I was at my sickest and poorest. That's when they chose to do it. When I'm telling them I'm going in and out of hospital on an almost daily basis. That's when they chose to do it. They are the lowest of the low scumbags, picking a man's poorest and most poor health moment to demand what is not rightfully theirs after offering help. At no point did they hint that they wanted this. They just lied, told me about how they were helping me with my book. Quote, your book, Adam Meakin, over and over again. Now, this isn't something new. This is only a couple of months ago. They've changed their mind in the last couple of months. And as a consequence, I am poorer and further behind with the book than I would be had they not have helped. So they've been a massive hindrance.
That's another thing. Maybe I shouldn't even tell you. Yeah, I'm going to tell you anyway. Well, they say the empathy way ain't the way to go. So they think that you're saying these things to gain empathy when you're just talking about a reality that you're going through. You're physically sick, you're emotionally drained, and you're tired. But they think that you're trying to get the material back with some empathy.
Right, they're trying to get the material produced under my supervision over the course of the last 2 years that they offered to help me with. That material, the material they've stolen, I'm trying to use empathy to get my own book back from them. What the fuck are they talking about? These two scumbags who belong in hell for being cheating, lying, bastard scumbags who are trying to extort from me. You think I'm using empathy? No. No, what I've done is moved on. And I'm now literally having to pay my wife because she can't take time out of her day where she'd normally be doing overtime work and incentivized work by her employer. She can't just give that up because it will cost her money. So I'm having to pay her to transcribe it all. Now, what I am finding, just on a lighter note, is why do they think it's theirs? Well, because according to them, I didn't put much effort in while I was recording and supervising the entire process. Well, they're right. That's because Quantum Eraser's words put down on page are boring, dry as a nun's fanny, and will require massive amounts of work to actually make readable. Littered with links when it's a book. So yeah, I was finding it intensely boring while they were helping me with my book that they've stolen, the 5th draft of, setting me back a considerable amount of time, costing me a considerable amount of money. But why wasn't I engaged? Because it was Snoozeville boring as all hell. That's why. Well, I can alter that. I can inject the Nathan Oakley magic back into the 6th draft after I retain control of the 5th draft that they're retaining a Word document for. The thieving, scum, lying, degenerate bastards, the pair of them. So no, you haven't got anything of value. You've got a Word document that you offered to help me with and then decided after the fact that your oh-so-wonderful Snoozeville, boring, dry as a nun's fanny work was worthy of having your name put on it. No. Meanwhile, should you decide to publish any of it, you'll find yourself in court for plagiarism because I've already published huge chunks of it. Why do you think there's a leaked version out there? With your Snoozeville words on it, Quantum Eraser? Yeah, that's because I'm not stupid. And I documented every step of the process so that should some scumbag, degenerate, lying, thieving wanker decide to steal my material from me, he won't get away with publishing my 5th draft. It's not a book yet, it's a draft that they've stolen and then decided to extort from me by way of blackmail. That's what they've done. Well, you won't get very far. And you won't be able to publish it either, because I can demonstrably show any court where it is my work. All of it. All 5 current drafts. The 6th draft, when I'm happy with it, not when it's got the boring Snoozeville endless links talking about Mae West. Once that shite has been removed from my book, then it'll be published. But what I was led to believe by these two scheming, thieving bastards was they would help make the book more technically superior. That's what they offered. But once they'd done it, they decided it was theirs. Wrong. You've just gone down in history as thieving pariahs. That's all you've achieved, you thieving, degenerate scumbags. I mean, fortunately, my wife's keen. She's got straight on it because I've given her money. That's basically the bottom line. I've gone, here's money. And she's gone, oh, well, I'll crack straight on then. Now, I had actually set a time to start doing it, hoping that with a deadline in my mind, I won't say the particular date, that they would come to their senses and realise that they're going to go down in history as thieving, scheming, lying bastards. Now, when I publish Adam telling me about how my book's going to go and how it will sell more copies if I go out and talk to Simon Dan and all of the rest of the scumbags on the globe side, that my book, that's, quote, Adam Meakin, your book, will do better for it and sell more copies, benefiting me. That's not him suggesting in any way, shape or form that he's about to thieve it from me, is it? It's him lying to me, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, they're both thieves, they're both liars, they deserve hell.
This is very disappointing.
Yeah,
Very
extremely
disappointing. I'm so sorry to hear this. So sorry. Unbelievable.
This happened weeks ago, frankly, so now I can muster my thoughts, gather them, and spit them at the camera about two thieving scumbags in no uncertain terms, having given them plenty of opportunity to right their wrongs without the public finding out. Well, my members found out about a week ago. Now, today, I didn't expect this to be the case. Neil's brought this up, but there's always a silver lining. And that's to say that as my wife's going through it and I'm listening to how dull and boring their work is, admittedly, it would have been spiced up and pepped up with me, but that wasn't ever going to be an opportunity they thought they would afford me. Not without their names on my book they allege to be helping me with, because they're thieves. They weren't helpers, they weren't friends, they were thieves, demanding a percentage. That's what QE did, because he's a thief. Well, thief, you won't be getting away with thieving anything from me, and should you try and publish it after the fact, you'll find out very quickly why there's a leaked version out there. I just never expected it to be you that would thieve it from me and require me having to demonstrate how all the work was done in my space, under my supervision, for my benefit. Thieving bastard.
I have a question, if you may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ventriloquism? Ventriloquism.
Yeah, ventriloquism. He's the guy who's going to translate one of the versions once it's done.
Right. It's not involved in this part, right?
No, this is just this glorified trumped-up secretary and Quantum Eraser.
Oh, okay. So ventriloquism is not involved in that.
No. I mean, the book's still going to go ahead. It's just delayed and costing me money. That's it. That's all they've achieved. A delay and costing me money. That's it.
Well, just for a heads up, they're going to turn around and say that they were going to waive any rights to any money. So
they're going to lie even more. No, let's get that absolutely straight. Quantum Eraser came on the phone and demanded percentages. Lying bastards. Oh, they were going to waive any... So why did Quantum Eraser come on the phone and start demanding percentages then? Lying, thieving bastards. So what is it about lying, thieving bastards? They just lie more when they're caught with their pants down. Yeah, they'll lie now and say, oh, we didn't want any money. Really? Why did QE come along and demand percentages then? Because they didn't want any money? No, you're liars. Make no mistake, they're just going to lie more. In fact, most of what they now say from this point forth will just be lies. More scheming, because that's what liars do when they get caught lying. Lie more. We've seen it from our opponents, and now we're seeing it from our so-called friends. Now, this isn't the first time I've been shagged over by my so-called friends. It's happened repeatedly. That's why I cover my own back and get my ducks in a line when I've got so-called friends offering to help me. That's why I've published various chunks of the recordings to the public so that they can see exactly how the process went down and how there's no misinterpretation available to them in terms of what was on offer. Certainly not any money. That's what QE demanded. Certainly not co-authorship. I agreed to credit them. They just weren't happy with that. They wanted more. And now they're going to lie. Oh, we didn't want any money. Really? Why did QE demand percentages then? Because he didn't want any money? No, because you are lying bastards. And more to make it seem like, oh, we didn't want any money. Well, why weren't you content to just have your names in the book as agreed, which I've also got recorded and have now published? Oh, why? Well, because you wanted more. A percentage, like QE demanded with his swearing. But you didn't want any, lying bastards. Yeah, you did.
Well, they reconsidered when they were thinking about it. This is what I'm told. They reconsidered and they were like, we don't want any money. We just want our name on the cover. So I don't know
see.
What,
so before I've even finished the sentence, the sentence, discrediting that garbage that they're putting out, that they didn't want any money. Oh, they changed their mind after they decided to extort from me and demand money from me. Now it's they don't want money after they've lied, extorted and blackmailed me with my own material. Now they don't want money. Yeah, notice how it's already unravelling? Yeah, I call them out for being lying bastards and suddenly they don't want any money. Yeah, that's what liars do. Oh, we didn't really want anything. Well, okay. Why wouldn't you accept what you'd already had agreed to then? No, you're just lying bastards, and that's how you'll go down in history. Yeah, this won't be your swan song. Your swan song will be as lying, scheming, degenerate thieves. That's your legacy now. Because that's what you are. Demanding percentages. Oh, we don't want any money. Really? Why was I being sworn at for percentages then? Is that because you don't want any money? No, it's because you're lying thieves. That's why. And now the audience know. En masse. Now, when did this happen? It happened a month ago. I've kept it from the audience for a month. I let the members know a week ago. But now everybody knows this is their legacy. Thieves, scumbags, and blackmailers. That's what they are. We'll give it him back if we only get what we want. Yeah, that's called extortion, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I've reported the trumped up secretary to the police for theft and extortion, because that's what it is. Doesn't mean I'm not going to put a book out. It does mean it's going to cost me time and money, the very thing they were offering to save me. No, they just hindered me, these so-called friends.
Well, did QE talk about it on Saturday during his treatment or something?
Speak up, Eli. Bloody hellfire.
Never mentioned a word, but there were people in chat. I didn't click on, but I was watching the show and watching the chat just to see what was going on. And there were people ballers and flat earthers saying, give what's not yours back to the man.
Mm-hmm.
We think it is ours. We work so very hard on it. It's ours now.
I saw that too. It was a good show. It like him not mentioning that. I mean, he took times to take jabs at me, and I understand that because I've taken jabs at him. So whatever. But I would have thought that he would have told his audience, what was going on from his perspective or something. The fact that he's not doing that, like, I feel sorry for. I feel bad because when a friend does you wrong, well, everybody doesn't react this way. When a friend does me wrong, it doesn't undo all the love I've put into all my thoughts of them over the years. So it's like, I understand you did me wrong. It's not going to change how I feel in the moment about you, So I did feel really bad watching his stream. But the fact that he didn't even mention it, knowing that his chat was going crazy about it, acting like they weren't going crazy about it, I don't know what you can do.
There's a reason why.
Be transparent or something, man.
No.
Because I don't know what's going on. You won't talk to anybody. You didn't say anything extra to me after I messaged you. So if you want, nobody knows what's going on.
I'm going to tell you.
Other than the fact that you it looks like you're withholding a book that, from your own words, doesn't belong to you, with arguments that you've already given the community. So, come on, bro.
The reason why he's not bringing anything up and why Adam's not talking about it, this is what I've been told, is because Nathan has made it a legal issue and they cannot speak.
Let me get it straight. Brian told me from Adam, quote, as a friend, you should get legal advice. Is this more blame shifting and victim shaming? So Adam told me via Brian, I've got that recorded too. Do you want me to play Brian telling me Adam's words that I should go and get legal advice? Do you want to hear that played? No, it's why bother? It's just constant flipping of the burden and reversing this situation like I'm at blame. No, I'm not. Literally, I've been told by Brian, quote, Adam, go and get legal advice. As a friend, because you've been my friend for so long, I'd advise you go and get legal advice. That's what I was told. And now they're using that against me. Doesn't this sound familiar? Yeah, that's what scumbags do.
Well, in the beginning, he said he didn't want it leaking on his show. There's a reason why he don't want it leaking on his show, because he knows what he's doing. That's the bottom line.
If it was the other way around, do anyone listening, if it was someone that's stolen Huey's book or his website and just like remade it in their own, whatever he would have thought was his, do you think he would have been quiet about it? He thought he was right. I don't. That's just speculation, but I don't believe for a second that he would have been quiet about it. Everyone he's thought has done him wrong intellectually, he's gone after. Why wouldn't he go after somebody if he thinks they stole something from him physically? So this whole, I can't talk because of legal reasons.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second, Eli. Just 1 second.
Unfortunately for those two idiots, I've documented the entire process.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Adam said to me, he said two things. He said, because he said I've been friends with Nathan for so many years, I would like him to actually go and get legal advice.
Like, what was that? I've made it a legal issue. Did you hear me being told explicitly by Brian via Adam's own lips, according to Brian? Unless Brian's a liar, I'm being told, go and get legal advice by Adam. What's that? I've made it legal? These people are such degenerate scumbags, aren't they? Wow.
So what it sounds like, I'll try to be as incoherent as possible out my own little hole. What it sounds like is at the time that, I guess Adam thought he was in the right, he tried to go, oh, maybe you should get some legal advice, my friend, to turn around and go, oh, look at that. He's gone and got legal advice. Is that what's happened?
No, maybe I said the wrong word because you got the cops involved, I think. Something like that. I'll go back and check. But it's something like that where you made it public and you brought the police involved and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When someone thieves from me, I'm going to report that to the police. When someone tries to extort from me, I'm going to report them to the police. Yes, absolutely, without question. Yeah, if you try and extort from me, I'm going to go to the police and tell them you've stolen from me and you're trying to extort from me. You're saying you won't give me what's mine unless I give you something. That's called extortion. That's what you've been reported to the police for, Adam. Yes, absolutely correct. Why wouldn't I?
Right. But the police are the legal advice in this situation.
Yeah.
No, that's not legal. That's not what he's saying. He's saying go and get a lawyer. That's what he's saying.
Why would you make it a civil issue? It's criminal.
Yeah, they've stolen. And now they're trying to extort from me.
Because they feel that after chapter 4, after chapter 5, you heard it all before, that it's a whole new book that has nothing to do, but the whole new book is about flat earth debate. So I do not get it.
Let me tell you, if I went over to your house and painted your house and I put everything into it and I did a really good job and I told you at the beginning, like, hey, we'll help you paint your house. At what point can I steal your house from you?
No matter what illustration or analogy you make, it's all going to come back to the same thing. They ain't getting it.
Slow. Right.
Well,
can we still hope for a version of your book to come out?
Other than
Nathan,
he's already told you it's coming out. Stop, because I don't want to get blindsided when I was about to say something for a question that you've answered ad nauseum. Yes, the book's coming out.
Yes, there will be a book coming out. Yes, it's just delayed.
Jesus Christ! Now my whole thing is, for a year, I can't put a time stamp on it, but I can say this. I would say 2 daylight savings ago is when QE's contributions have gone to a minimum to FED. When I say that, I mean QE doesn't frequent the show the way he used to.
Okay.
He doesn't. Does anybody?
Well, before we get
Longer
into
than
that,
that.
just so I can round this out and we can move on with other things, right? So I did this already once. I may as well play it. I played it to members, and by play it, I mean I read out a statement based on what discussions I was having at the time with 10th Man, who was the originator of the idea of writing a book in the first place, for the sole purpose of helping me financially. That's the main reason, because I'm very, very poor. Anyway, that was prepared as a statement. I'm just going to play that out so that the audience can hear it now. So, having edited about 90% of the book, Adam and Quantum Eraser are withholding the Word document, that's the working draft, 5th version, from me. So, having discussed it with 10th Man, what I'm going to do now is just read out what he and I discussed together. So, first I'll read out what was from 10th Man, then I'll read out my response. From 10th Man. Right, open line, is everything working? Let's just double check that first before I read out for a while. From 10th Man, it's always been your book. I started this whole project for you and your family's well-being, to bring a new source of income to help you get along. So the truth is that. Not anything else being added or excuses or cause. They should have just walked away if it was too hard. They did not do that. Only one thing is certain. They agreed to help you get your book out and then changed their mind. Now it appears they want something else than was originally offered. I'm very saddened by it all. Nathan, stay true to the truth, and this too shall pass. I got your back. It's easy to tell the truth. Cheers, 10th. That's 10th's message to me. Now, the reply is pretty lengthy, so strap in. My reply. You are a great man, 10th. Your sage counsel is far superior to that of my former editors. Glad that you told me not to lie in an attempt to regain control of the working draft. You said it would make me as bad as them, and you were right. So, work will continue on a 6th draft. It will add a little time to the process, but that's life. I think I will just come clean and tell the audience that my editing team decided that my book needs to become their book, so I will have to sack them both, as they have attempted to extort me with a Word document. This means they have ended a friendship and now get nothing and lose all connection with me. But better that this happens now rather than later. God has looked out for me, and I feel I'm on a path he has put me on. It's not an easy path, and it's definitely not paved with riches. But it's the path I need to be on, and God has shown me in the past similar circumstances that being honest is the right way to go. I will always be grateful for that guidance from God, and in this instance reinforced by you, meaning 10th Man. I have thanked God just before writing this, because when good people keep me on that narrow path, even when it goes through a shady route with temptation to lie, cheat, like the people, open brackets, John and Adam, who lie and cheat to get one over on me, God has been there the whole time answering my prayers and giving me little gifts. That is reference to the people who actually support me. When I say little gifts, I mean the people who support me financially. Sorry to paraphrase my message already. You are correct in your assessment. They rolled the dice and lost. As my very Christian grandmother used to say, gambling is the work of the devil. She wouldn't allow playing cards like the ones you get in a casino in her house. It always stuck with me. I'll gamble with a calculated risk, but not against other players. QE and Adam have made me a player and didn't tell me. So, now I know I can stand up with my head held high and walk away from the table. None of the chips are real. The money itself isn't real. This hit home when my father passed recently. Guess how much money he took with him? Money is just a means to an end. I'd like to do what God intended, and not what is just easy. So, although hard, I will come clean with those who support me, some being my enemy, referring to ballers who are also supporting me by watching my show, meaning the audience, and just tell them, my editors decided they want to be writers, and tried to use my 5th working draft they were helping me to edit to make a name for themselves as writers, so I had to sack them both. causing a further delay. Not the end of the world, the start of further refinement of my book. If it's not already clear, I want to say a big thank you to you, but also, to other saved souls who have suddenly come to the forefront as true friends. Obviously you, 10th Man, but Anthony Riley, Paula, One Deck, Flatsy, Brian, John and Neil have all been true friends and shown true grit. Adam and Quantum Eraser revealed themselves as parasites, happy to use their lies and deception and blackmail to extort me to get what they want from me. What they called their, quote, swan song meant that they wanted to walk away from FE but leave their mark on my book as they walked away. I wish them every happiness, and that God is watching over them also. I don't think they are bad men, they just made a bad decision, and it has cost them greatly. And for that, I too am saddened. But I'll get over it quickly. Adam has no spine or honour, and QE always was a foul-mouthed narcissist only out for number one. So, the book continues, but will be delayed, but will become more refined. Earth is, was, and always will be exactly as God made it, flat. This focus wasn't the case when QE and Adam started helping me edit my book. For that reason, much of what they have done to the book isn't actually in line with this new rhetoric. So, good though it was, better it will be for this happening. It always was going to be the way it went. QE did get that right. God knows what is in store. He knew this was something on my path, and he ushered me along it anyway, meaning God, not QE. Sorry to send such a long reply, but I feel you deserve the fullest explanation of the circumstances and a broad outline of further work that will need to be done. Thank you, and God bless, Nathan. There you go. So that was my statement that I gave to... Originally, it was what I typed out to 10th Man after a back and forth, but after reading it back, I thought, this is a perfect statement I can read out to an audience, and I did a week ago to my members. So another reason, might as well use it as a plugging opportunity. So become a member of Nathan Oakley 1980 if you want to be a week ahead of the game in terms of things like people stealing a book from me. You'd have known a week ago if you'd have been my member. So maybe become a member. Anyway. There we go. That's my statement. You've heard it. Members heard it already. Now you've heard it as the public on a live stream. Not the way I wanted it to go. Not the way anybody wanted it to go. That's life. Not the first time I've been screwed over. Probably won't be the last. Each and every time it happens, you arm yourself and prepare yourself for such things happening.
Yeah, we get a better Nathan every time. The shows have been great.
Yes, so I hear. The more pain and misery and suffering and poverty I suffer, the more the shows improve, so I hear.
As you're leaking out of 4 holes in your back, the shows are getting better and better.
Yeah,
to be stabbed repeatedly in the back. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, John, go ahead.
I just said that wet fish episode where you're talking about, feeling stupid about, missing it, the measurements. That was a really good one.
The same attitude from Jad, though, is actually in the chat. He sent me a message saying that yesterday's show, which was the Road to Flat Earth, and talking about something that I actually objected to, so I had to kind of rein people in at various points of yesterday's show, saying, look, this is kind of the antithesis of what I was hoping to achieve here. That is to say, I am dead against the roads we were on to be talking about this subject because they're conspiratorial roads that make us all paintable as idiots when we get to the subject of flat Earth. And there's a good chance when you do start talking about flat Earth, you're so excited about it that you've got nothing to really talk about. You don't know about the subject matter. You just instinctually know Earth's flat because it is. So it seems like the right thing to do to talk about it. But then when you're in front of somebody talking about it and you haven't got a great deal of knowledge on the subject, you end up talking about what you did last. For me, psychopathy and narcissism and subliminal messaging. And for other people, it was aliens and Miru and Planet X and all this other stuff, right? And that's what we were all talking about when we got to Flat Earth, because that's what we knew. Because that's what we'd done prior to finding out Earth was flat from Next Man without a high degree of standardization of evidence. Now, 10 years down the line, Earth's measured flat by everybody. What's that? You haven't shown any measurements, Nathan. What about Simon Dan's 1,000 flat Earth elevation angles to the sun? What about Fugly Dave McKeegan's limited capacity measuring the elevation angle to the sun in Antarctica almost for 24 hours? What about Red Rhetoric measuring Earth flat for 2,500 miles so he can apply trig? What about Eratosthenes? What about Al-Biruni? What about all of the globe evidence that you think suggests you're on a sphere that utilises flat planar measurements? Those are the standard now, because Earth was, is and always will be measured flat. But it's taken 10 years to get there. And what was the starting point for this section of my life in flat Earth? Well, John, the guy who just spoke a moment ago, it didn't drop, the penny that is, immediately when he said, I'll give you, my globe Earth opponent, every single concession for every point you have for being on a globe. Now, at the time, it's like, what the hell are you doing, you madman? Not at all. He can give every glober every concession to every point they claim they think makes proof for a ball, because they don't. They all start with a flat Earth measurement, and there aren't any exceptions. That's why John, refracted curvature, could turn around and say, I'll give you every concession you want. I'll agree to everything you put to me. And Earth will still be measured flat at the end.
Well, maybe they designed it that way, Nathan. So we know all roads lead to flat Earth, but they wanted all conspiracies to lead to flat Earth, so flat Earth could be a conspiracy as well.
Exactly. Well, that was a beautiful summary, Neil. That was the most profound thing you've ever said on the show.
Excellent.
Yeah. Instead of all roads leading back to a flat Earth, why not have all conspiracy roads lead to flat Earth? Neil, you're a genius. I knew there was a reason
Yeah,
you were here.
sometimes it happens.
Write that down, Neil.
Write that down, copyright it
6
so
years.
it doesn't get stolen by Quantum Eraser.
Well, he's the one that sent on to Cell Navigation. You know that, right? Cell Nav. So, I guess he's the author of everything.
Yes, like a spoilt child. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. No, it isn't. Get lost, you spoilt little child. Go and play with your bow and arrow.
I got a better idea, Nathan. Just put it in the book. I give you permission. It's only a sentence. Just like all roads lead to flat Earth, they set it up where all conspiracies lead to flat Earth.
Yeah, maybe it will. We will see. There's plenty of anecdotes to go into the book, right? To make it an interesting page turner. And that's really all I want. Like I say, when I've been listening back as my wife's transcribing it, I'm going, my God, this is boring. No wonder I played a ton of Fortnite while they were doing it. It's just dull. Now, don't get me wrong. I can turn around and play Eternal Gratitude for the factual data that they've presented for me to put in my book that they're now withholding. But ultimately, it needs to be turned into a good read, right? Or when it's on the table, if it doesn't engage you in the first sentence, then it won't get read. Now, this is my words. These are my wife's words. They're like, what you need is it to be appealing to somebody who catches a glimpse of it on next man's table and goes, what's that? Picks it up and reads the first page and immediately want to read all of it. Now, she's much more of a book reader than I, and she said, look, if I'm not engaged within the first 2 or 3 sentences, there's a good chance that I won't read that book. And if it's all links to formulas and, reference book material, like they were describing, then that's not a page turner. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that book would have sold to all of the flat earth people that have put their hand up and said they want a copy. But once that book's on someone's table, it needs the neighbour who comes round to borrow the lawnmower to see it on the table and go, what's that? Oh, that's a book about flat earth. All right, can I have a quick read of the first page? Oh, this is really boring. And then they put it back down and walk back out. What you want is, can I borrow this? No, you'll have to buy a copy. I'm only halfway through. That's what you want, right? That's what I want. I want everybody to want to buy a copy. And I want next man to be told, this is a really good read. Now, if you tell next man that it's a really good read and they borrow the book, read it and go, no, it wasn't. Actually, it was really boring. They're never going to believe you ever again when you tell them what is your recommendation in terms of books. But if they read it and go, wow, this is really exciting. Yes, I really enjoyed reading that book. And what do you know? At the end, I learned that Earth is always measured flat. Then that's the book I want. Now, like I say, it's not that I wouldn't have, and I already agreed to offer gratitude for the people around me who've made this journey possible over the last 10 years of producing materials, probably nearly 11 now. Someone said to me, it's been 10 years for the last 2 years. I'm like, yeah, probably. I'd lose track of the time. But the point is, what I want the book to do is sell. How do you get a book to sell? You make it good. You don't make it snoozeville with a load of links.
It seemed like every time it was getting juicy, they wouldn't want it in. I'll give you, for instance, like, I like the way you tell the story of Thea, how they say Earth was started. And that was going to hit the cutting shelf. That really annoyed me because I like the way you tell that story. And so will other people. Now, I don't know if it's going to make it, but you recall what I'm talking about, Nathan.
Yeah, you're talking about Thea smashing into Earth at a glancing blow, and how the orbital path of Thea was just missing Earth long enough for Earth to develop a molten iron core of its own, but then eventually Thea smashed into the Earth, depositing its juicy, delicious, golden molten iron core into Earth's, and all of the debris coalescing with gravitational accretion to form the moon in orbit around us. That's why the moon has the same material as Earth. It's true because we made it up ourselves.
Yeah, and that was going to hit the cutting block.
Like I say,
Just like
dead.
So I'm just saying, it's only like you're saying about the book and being a page turner and a story. I don't know how to put words into this properly at the moment, but like you get a book and like the story takes it turns totally round. What you thought was going to happen doesn't happen, and there's a big U-turn, and you didn't expect that to happen. That's what's happened here, because, for example, all the Al-Biruni, Eratosthenes, all them stories that we was like thinking, God, we've got to, this is the proof of a globe, and not realizing what the story really was and the measurements. We now throwing that back in the face of the globers and saying, this was your evidence and you can have it back and we're going to use it against you. And that is a brilliant U-turn.
Yeah, it goes from the fear of the curve calculator through inexperience back 10 years ago. And I can remember to this day Anthony Riley presenting the curve calculator to me. And he gave me a story, an explanation of how his, I'm going to say they're ours, but his globe Earth opponent in that moment explained to him, Anthony Riley, that the way we collectively should argue about whether or not Earth is a ball is by way of, via this curve calculator. This is what we use. This is how we argue this subject, Anthony. So here it is. Here's your calculator. This is how you argue for the ball. And I remember him saying this to me, and I'm like, what the hell's a curve calculator? What are you talking about? And then him showing it me. And then we spent, I don't know, a year, maybe two, debating about the Isle of Man within the confines of the curve calculator. 10 years later, the curve calculator requires Earth be measured flat. All of the measurements that you input into those little boxes are flat Earth measurements. Did we know it 10 years ago? No. So it goes from fear of this subject to a complete appreciation that all of the measurements that are ever going to be appealed to are all flat. Complete 180-degree turnaround.
Fantastic.
I've said it before, it might be the case that if it wasn't for QE and Adam being treacherous, I wouldn't have had the inclination to look over my own material and go, no, this needs sexing up, it's boring. But I had to literally, in the most physical and literal sense, step back from the book. So I've stepped back from this seat. My wife sat here transcribing the videos that I've recorded, and I'm in the other room because I don't want to be tearing her hair out as well as mine in frustration, while I'm listening to QE and Adam spend an absolute frigging eternity argue about one bloody word. And my wife's like shaking her head going, really? But that means that I'm literally and physically stepped back from it, overlooking it, going, yeah, there's a reason I'm playing games while they're doing this, because it's boring. I'm not engaged with it. I'm not engaged with them because what they're doing is tedious. Now, a lot of the factual information that I was hoping they would provide the book is tedious. Now, yeah, large chunks of that may make it to the book, but it is still tedious. I've got to figure a way of weaving it into an interesting book. But like I say, these two idiots are so self-aggrandizing. They think that by the time they've offered their factual polishing, that makes it the end of the process and theirs. They're bloody delusional, the pair of them. Also, the slight heartbreaking part of that is that at various different stages, rather than recording the screen with the book up, I was recording me playing Fortnite. So there might actually be chunks that do go missing. And my wife's like, this video's useless. I'm like, what do you mean it's useless? She's like, well, you're playing Fortnite on it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did get Victor Royale, though, didn't I? Look. So there will be certain sections that you go, well, why isn't this so polished? Yeah, that's my fault. I was playing Fortnite. I think it was one day yesterday when I pointed that out. It was like, well, those bits weren't deemed to be in there. They just weren't destined to be in there. You're like, yeah, exactly. Man, is the hour gone by already? Sorry, go ahead.
Just saying that's how you've got to look at it, Nathan. You know, this is a sign. It's synchronicity. These things are happening for a reason. Definitely.
Yeah, I said it in the statement. I trust the path I'm on. And that's it. I work very hard. I do what I've got to do to get by. I'm not a rich man. I probably never will be. But I will be exceedingly proud of the book when it comes out. Now, it was being looked over by two intelligent people that know the ins and outs of, I don't know, Einstein's field equations better than I do. So for that reason, I was more than happy to take a step back while they worked on it and yawned and played Fortnite. Now, I didn't think for a second that they'd want to take ownership of my book. They have. They've demanded percentages, and then they've lied and said they don't want any money. They've told me to go and get legal advice, and then said, oh, I've made it all legal. Just projection, victim blaming, scumbaggery, thieves. That's what they are. So, like I say, you don't expect this to be the broadcast you make on a Wednesday afternoon. I'd have preferred it was on a Friday. Bad news was always better delivered on a Friday. Just ask the Labour Party. Anyway, we're almost up on the full hour. Was anybody? This is going to be the last sort of over me yelling down the barrel of the camera about how scummy they are. Like I say, I have actually, in strictest terms, moved on from this and moved on from it quickly. Yeah? It's not the first time I've been betrayed. It won't be the last. But it's not happened today, right? This happened a month ago. And my members were made aware of it a week ago, 3 weeks after it had happened. My friends were made aware of it 2 weeks ago, and so on and so forth. The broadening of the people that has found out has got more and more wide as time has progressed. And that was at 10th Man's suggestion. It's like, no, don't just go public immediately. Take stock of your situation. Appeal to your close-knit friends. Well, firstly, appeal to them. Might as well get that on this recording as well. The first thing I did is approach both of them, and do you know what they both did? Ignored dozens and dozens of phone calls, texts, and messages. They ignored them all. The complete cowards, the pair of them. They did not want to communicate with me. Why do you think I've got to play a recording of Brian telling me that Adam says I should go and get legal advice? Because they wouldn't even talk to me, the pair of cowards. Yeah, that's the real situation. At 10th Man's advice, approach them first. Deal with them first. Then go to your friend network. Then go to your member network. Now go to the public. That's what's happened. So it's not a quick, oh, I need to expose them. No, it hasn't been like that. Yeah. Hence, I've got pre-recorded disclaimers and whatever you would call what I just played, my message to 10th Man. I've got it all lined up. As Brian said, you need to get your ducks in a line, says Adam. That's what I'm being told. No, I had my ducks well and truly in a line before these two thieving bastards turned up and offered help. Anyway.
Yeah, but Nathan, you didn't listen. This is going on. I remember Brian saying he's trying to negotiate something. You didn't say anything to anybody at the time. And I messaged you. I said, please don't tell me that they're trying to get co-authorship. So people were putting two and two together. So
yeah, but I didn't tell
you
because I was trying to communicate with them. And by that point, I'd sent them a dozen messages each that they'd both ignored. But yeah, I wasn't just going to immediately blurt it out to you. Need to do a couple of shout outs for super chats because there has been people giving me super chats while this has been going on. But is there anything else anyone wants to add? Because like I say, this is probably, it may or may not be the last time it ends up coming up on a live show, but this is pretty much, thanks to Neil, been the dedication of this particular live show, right? Maybe come up with a title. But shout out.
Because I brought up QE having a show yesterday. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said that there was people, you specifically said there was people berating them in the chat. And again, you feel more empowered when you know that there's people on your side to the point where they'll proactively go after the thief and say, thief, give back what's not yours. So when these scumbags come out and say, oh no, we didn't want any money, we didn't really. QE, you're a liar. You demanded a percentage, you lying, thieving bastard. Now you're saying you didn't want any money? Yeah, that's just going to be another expose of the thieving scumbag you are, that you're now lying about what you demanded by swearing at me and then ignoring me entirely for dozens and dozens of messages and then sticking your head in the sand and not mentioning it on your show that you had yesterday. Now, me, I've unsubscribed from Quantum Eraser. I'll put out a little short showing me unsubscribing so people can see what I'm doing. But I'm not going to stick my head in the sand. I will hold my head up high, and I will call it as what it is. Blackmail, extortion, thievery. Scumbags lying to me, telling me and my audience, I've got the recordings, that they're helping me. And when they get caught with their pants down trying to extort from me, they say, we didn't want any money. Yeah, you did, you lying bastards. Yeah? Now, blaming me and making me the victim, the guilty party, won't work either. No one's going to buy your lies. Let's get that explicitly clear on this recording too. Right, anything else? Because I do want to shout out these super chats, or I'll shout them out and think if you've got anything you want to strap onto the end of this show. I feel for you, Nathan, says Godzilla37. No one likes their work stolen. Talk to Turret. He looks like he could help. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I will. I'll see if I can drop him a line. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla. He sent $6.99 Canadian. Shout out to Unitox Femu, sends $2. He says, I remember one guy speaking about morality. I wonder who that was. Another shout out to Unitox Femu, who's gifted a membership. Thank you very much indeed for both of those super chats / membership gifting Unitox Femu. Then shout out to Tom, who's been a member for 31 months. And he says, this only makes me more excited to read your work, says Tom. Oh, thank you very much, Tom. Really appreciate the support. And then Tim, a different super chatter. That was Tom. This is Tim. Tim Holder, who says, good luck, Nathan. You've come a long way. You deserve respect for your journey. Well, thank you very much, Tom. I really appreciate all of these super chats and support. It really does warm my heart. Thank you all very, very much.
We just need Jim to complete the set.
We need Tom, Jim, Tim, Gord, and Uni. Any more for any more? If not, I'm going to round out this live stream. It's been emotional.
Well, I got one more thing. The book was always... Flat Earth Debate was a great show. It still is a great show. And it was a show that provided citation for everything that was discussed. Any proof, we have citation. So I'm glad that the book is going back to what the show really is.
Any more for any more? Thanks, Neil. Anything anyone wants to add from Discord? If it's a question, you're more than happy to ask. Just ask. If there are any questions, feel free. Unlike the scumbag thieves, I don't have anything to hide. No? Any questions? No? Really not. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, that's to say you're a member, maybe subscribe to my second channel if you want to see those uncut and after shows for free. But be sure to stay tuned because there will be an after show to follow. But if you are watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit me up on PayPal, smash the super chat, all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And I'll see you all in the next video.